Well, the largest trigger for global markets yesterday was the release of the US FOMC minutes for the month of June. And the Fed has continued with its rather hawkish approach. What they've suggested is that many members continue to see inflation risks only getting entrenched and accentuated, and they are expecting to continue to hike rates, and there is a willingness, more importantly, to continue to hike rates in this environment. What they are suggesting is that they are going to continue to adopt more restrictive policies going forward if inflation continues to remain elevated. So for the month of July, most members are expecting to see a 50 to 75 basis point rate hike, which it seems the markets have already factored. Markets in fact saw a rise in trade yesterday, with all three US indices or benchmark indices going up. And on the back of that commentary, it clearly signals that markets somewhere have already factored in a 50 to 75 basis point rate hike. So couple of things happened yesterday. One is, of course, all three indices rose, but the other piece is that Treasury yields also went up by around 10 bips or so, and it's hanging in there at the moment as we see it. The Dow rose around 0.25%, the S&P 500 rose above 0.33%, and the Nasdaq too gained around 0.35%. So largely flattish, but definitely positive for all three indices, and the third straight day of gains for both the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. The question continues to remain, have things turned? That's the key. Moving quickly on to how Europe looked. European markets also closed sharply higher after closing sharply lower in trade on Tuesday. Wednesday saw a good bounce among all European indices, so definitely a plus there. Moving quickly on to how Asia is looking, the handover from the US has definitely helped Asian indices, and they're pretty much all in the green outside of the Hang Seng. The Hang Seng continues to stare at red, but the others are in the green. The positive handover has helped them. The Nikkei is up around 0.9%. The Shanghai absolutely flat, but still trading with a positive bias, up around 0.1% or so. The Hang Seng though is down 0.9%. The ASX 200 and the Kospi are in the green. The ASX 200 up around 0.33%, the Kospi up around 1.6% as we speak. So definitely positive. When we're looking at the SGX Nifty as well, that too is in the green. The SGX Nifty is up around 0.75% in early trade today. So positive cues coming through. Of course, the other focus area at the moment is commodities, oil prices and gold prices. Where oil prices are concerned, they've come off only a little bit, 2% down versus yesterday. They've come off from that just below that $100 mark to below $98 a barrel as we speak. So definitely positive for emerging economies as well as India. Definitely a good positive, oil coming off those highs. When we're looking at gold though, gold has come off quite sharply. When we're seeing the retreat in gold, gold was at above $1,800 an ounce at the start of this week. It's come down to $1,740 an ounce at the moment. So when I'm looking at the gold prices at the moment, they're below $1,740 an ounce, and that signals that gold is coming off on the back of that Fed commentary that's come through. The Fed commentary seems to suggest an increase in rates going forward, and while markets seem to have factored, equity markets seem to have factored that, where treasuries as well as gold is concerned, that does not seem to have translated. So treasuries have gone up, gold has come down as treasuries look more attractive, where gold does not give absolutely any recurring returns. There's no coupon on gold, and that puts gold slightly lower, which is why there is pressure. Treasury yields, as I did mention, above the 2.9%, gaining around 10 bips or so over the last day. Definitely a plus. This is the 10-year US bond yield, and the bond yield has inverted again. So recession fears continue to mount, and that is the case even prior to this. It wasn't just the case now, but that continues to reinforce itself. Moving quickly on to cryptos. Well, cryptos are where we left them yesterday broadly. Bitcoin continues to be above that $20,000 mark. Largely, it's a positive start the way we see it for Indian indices, at least the SGX Nifty reflecting that, and the handover to positive, oil lower, definitely a plus at the moment the way we are looking at the Indian indices.